From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
A News Hour tonight. Zamfara residents say security of lives and property more critical than subsidy palliative. Again, arraignment of suspected CBN governor stalled, case not on course list on adjourned date. UK Defence Minister meets Nigerian counterpart, expresses support for ECOWAS intervention in Niger. On the foreign scene, Wagner mercenary group boss involved in plane crash kills 10 in Russia. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV News. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. Residents of Zamfara State say that they need urgent security intervention to guarantee the safety of lives and property and not palliatives. This, they say, will enable them return to their farmlands to feed themselves and others. The report.
Rather than provide palliative, the respondents say the federal government should come up with workable strategies to combat the armed bandits preventing them from accessing their farms, thereby creating untold economic hardship to people in the state.
Zamfara is a serious humanitarian crisis. That's back to Zamfara. Serious humanitarian crisis where many people have lost everything. Majority, I can say majority, because only people within the town, maybe the 14 local government headquarters, that would say that they are relatively safe.
They were responding to government's planned distribution of palliatives to citizens to cushion the effects of the hardship occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy. The respondents also charged the federal and the Zamfara state government to demonstrate a strong commitment and political will to fight the armed bandits who are unleashing terror and kidnapping innocent people for ransom.
I think in Zamfara here, it's not the issue of palliatives that matters to us. What matters to us in utmost is the security, life and property. Because I didn't these bandits allow us to go to the farms. When we don't require anybody, we provide palliatives for ourselves. And now that the federal government has decided to assist, well, we can thank them for assisting, but we need security.
Abdullahi Abubakar is one of the respondents. He believes that provision of palliatives cannot alleviate the plight of the people, as several of them have been thrown into poverty because of insecurity. He wants the government to genuinely help the people by restoring security and peace, which can engender their prosperity.
The issue of federal government, I think federal government is still arranging what is four arrangement, let it call four arrangement, all strategic arrangement concerning the issue of palliative. Giving palliative, small substance, small food substance to household. Some will just give them 2 meters, 3 meters. Some even if you give them 20 meters, will not take them 2 to 3 days, finish it. Like us here in Zamfara, we don't need that.
According to the respondents, current economic realities in the country have forced them to adjust to their lifestyle in order to cope with the current situation.
1 million people will benefit from the fuel subsidy palliative in Kaduna State. This is coming as the state governor, Uba Sani, confirms receipt of 2 billion out of the 5 billion naira promised by the federal government as palliative to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal on residents of the state. Bello Musa reports that residents demand transparency and prudence in the disbursement of funds to the poor. Here's the report.
Uba Sani lists the categories of beneficiaries of the palliative to include persons living with disability, the aged, widows, women groups, among others, in the first phase of the exercise.
But as of today, 2 billion naira have been given to the Kaduna State. And the 2 billion naira is what we are using at the moment to ensure that we come up with something quickly to support our poor and vulnerable within our state who have been suffering because of the removal of fuel subsidy. Set up committees at local government level as well as wonderful. And I also asked the Deputy Governor to ensure that at local government levels we make sure that all the various labor organizations, trade union, market women, smallholder farmers are involved in the distribution of these palliatives.
We equally agree as a committee to consider the internally displaced persons in their IDPs. We equally consider the widows.
Residents narrate the hardship they go through after fuel subsidy removal, calling for judicious and fair distribution of the monies.
Please, this fuel subsidy is not easy. It has caused pain. There is no money. People are suffering.
And look at my condition now. And my condition is not okay. I just leave Nigeria. There is a peace. Everything to be okay.
I would like to advise the government. They are going to share these palliatives actually. They are supposed to put it in the right channel, that it will reach the needy, not them giving some individuals. It might end up going to the hands of people that are richer more than the ones that are suffering in the country.
The important thing is addressing the issue of insecurity, because insecurity is one of our major problems in this country. Now, the farmers, they don't, a person that used to in a year, he will yield 1,000 bags of rice or maize. Now you will find him maybe hardly getting 10 bags.
The State Deputy Governor Hadiza Balarabe is chairing the disbursement committee charged with the responsibility of ensuring fair and equitable distribution of the palliative. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Still on subsidy removal intervention, residents of Kwara State are keen on subsidy palliative distribution as the State Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak inaugurates committee on distribution of the federal government's palliatives in the state. Some residents believe sharing of the foodstuffs alone will not be sufficient, but other needs of the poor should be addressed. The report.
The state government had set up the committee a day after the federal government announced the countrywide palliatives, which include 4 billion naira worth of rice and maize from the strategic maize reserve, valued at least 1 billion naira. While inaugurating the committee, which has the State Commissioner of Police as the chairman, the governor said the palliative is only one of the many steps the government has taken, measures to relieve people of the difficulties arising from the fuel subsidy removal. The governor commends members of the committee for accepting to serve the state, urging them to make Kwara a shining example and saying that other states are already adopting the modalities of the Kwara state government.
As you are aware, our administration has rolled out multiple initiatives to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy removal. Quite a number of other interventions have been introduced by the federal government in this regard. It's important to clarify that food palliatives are only a stopgap measure to show empathy and reach out to the people, especially the most vulnerable ones amongst us.
We are going to be very transparent. We are not going to let the governor and the state down. We put into consideration the people who are supposed to be giving this palliative, the deserving people. We are going to do our very best.
Some residents of the state, however, asked the government to share the palliative evenly, especially as it relates to foodstuff, to cater for their needs.
Rice is not the only food to the Nigerian people. They are talking of the poorest of the poorest. If we are talking of poorest of the poorest, are those people going to be killed by malnutrition for eating just one type of food all the while? These are things that this government people cannot take.
Government should also look at, while giving the household, in the African settings, aside having these households, there are large population. So there is need to increase the amount of palliative you are giving, and also to add other condiments.
The residents wondered why only rice will be shared when there are other needs like transportation, among others.
Rising cost of living continues to take toll on Nigerians, with many residents of Kebbi State expressing resentment over indifference of political leadership to the suffering of citizens without practical solutions to their plight. Umar Afanda reports that rising price of food items has forced many households to struggle to feed.
There are glaring indications that people are becoming hopeless as the purchasing power of Nigerians is diminishing by the day. The means and sources of people's income have drastically reduced due to total absence of labor that has been affected by high cost of living. The current hike has definitely and overwhelmingly sunk the value of Nigerian wages, rendering Nigerians incapable of buying foodstuff at the rate it is now. And on the average, only few privileged Nigerians, high-class civil servants or political office holders now have the financial ability to purchase food at the cost it is. People have again become outrageous in the manner they allege indifference by the authorities to the current inflation, high level of impunity, rampant killings of ordinary Nigerians through banditry, and the manner of Nigeria's politics and the political actors. A foodstuff dealer in Birnin Kebbi Market, Malam Sambo, is one of those who expressed this outrage, saying that they only spend time in the market without buyers due to the current hike of foodstuff caused by subsidy removal. Nobody needs to be told the volume of hardship people are going through. I blame the government for not responding abruptly to the immediate yearnings of the people, which is hunger. Moreover, we in the north massively voted Tinubu, but he is not paying us with the right coin, because northerners are suffering the most because we are ravaged by so many things. This palliative the president is singing about is long overdue. I will not trust any palliative until I see it in my hands. I call on Tinubu and his government to hasten the distribution of the palliative. Cost of living? It is unimaginable. We will only need to pray to God. It is very serious. Aliu Muhammad, a keke napep driver, said if this kind of situation persists, they will be thrown out of business. But they are not sure of what will follow afterwards. Honestly, we are going through hell. Nobody can explain its depth. We are only buying petrol, roaming the street without passengers, who now resort to trekking. Bola Tinubu should, for God's sake, return the country to subsidy regime. We are tired. We can't bear it anymore. The problems of Nigerians are becoming cumulative, as many graduating youth are already jobless. The situation is indeed serious and calls for urgent attention. From Birnin Kebbi, Umar Afanda, Trust TV.
And away from that, the expected arraignment of the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, on Wednesday over an alleged procurement fraud has again been stalled. The matter was not listed on the course list of the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja on Wednesday, with no reason given, as lawyers to both parties were absent in court. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the situation left both parties and media reporters covering the case guessing. The report.
At the last adjourned date, the proceedings could not hold due to absence of the second accused person, even though the first defendant, suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, was in court. On Wednesday, when prosecution ought to arraign the defendants, the case was missing from the course list of the court. Neither parties to the suit nor the court registrar could explain the reason for this.
Behind me is court 27, where the case involving the suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele was to take place. But as we arrived at the court, we're told that the case is not listed.
Efforts to get the court registrar to provide further details were not successful. Counsels to the accused also maintained sealed lips over the matter. Godwin Emefiele and another are to be arraigned on amended 20-count charge bordering on procurement fraud. Shapiro Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, earlier we spoke to Barrister Gabriel Adiku, a member, Legal Education Committee of the Nigerian Bar Association, who shared his perspective on the legal proceedings.
As it stands, the judge have made his comment, which for me is a rebuke, calling them to order. You are not the law to yourself. The law, it is the law that gave birth to DSS. So the law that baited DSS also have the scope which DSS should operate within. So the word from that judge is reprimanding them to do the needful to behave in accordance to the law. So I wouldn't want us to want to bring that into the reason for which Emefiele's case was not slated for trial today. I think whatever is the reason for the failure to have the matter go on today or continue today is incumbent on the trial judge to explain to the litigants and the lawyers involved. Nigerians want to know. This man is entitled to fair trial. Whatever it is, however it is, the trial is what, fair trial is what is entitled to, and fair trial is what he should get. Well, this is not one of those matters that is entitled to be conducted in the secret. No, the court is an open trial. Anything short of open trial cannot be adjudged to be fair trial. So I want to say, I don't want to suspect. There's no attempt anywhere whatsoever, and there should be no attempt anywhere whatsoever to conduct Emefiele's case in the secret. It must be in the open court. So the attempt of shutting out the media is not correct. It's not correct. We all cannot be in the court, but the media in the court is the eyes of the public. So the media must be allowed into the court to observe the proceeding and report to Nigerians. Nigerians are interested in this. Anything short of this cannot be adjudged to be fair trial. Fair trial is trial in the open court. Fair trial is trial accessible by every reasonable Nigerian interested. Fair trial is trial that can be adjudged by the ordinary Nigerians to have been fair. Fair trial is not adjudged by the standard of the intelligent or the rich in the society. No. Fair trial, the standard for adjudging fair trial is that of a reasonable man on the street. And that reasonable man must be granted access. Where he cannot be accessed, the media that is his voice should be allowed into the court.
Now, residents of the Federal Capital Territory have set a governance template for the newly inaugurated minister and former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, while the new minister hits the ground running with policy pronouncements that elicited divergent reactions. Some residents highlight areas that need to be given priority by the FCT minister. Trust TV's Noel Sampson reports.
The immediate past governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, was appointed minister of the FCT by President Bola Tinubu. His appointment did not come as a surprise to many, owing to his performance in Rivers State. Nyesom Wike was quick to make his intention to restore the master plan of the capital city, even if it means stepping on toes of passive people in high places. This threat generated reactions amongst the residents, who did not also hide their expectations on the new FCT administration.
Wike is a man that he has a lot of energy. He's focused. Yes, he might be brash and may not come off as a smooth talking person, but definitely he's a very effective person. He's a goal-getter. So that alone, FCT does not need a smooth talker. FCT needs somebody who is ready to do the job. The city has really degraded, since after the tenure of Obasanjo, El-Rufai.
Looking at what he has done in Rivers State, though I have not been there, but the informations around shows that he's a developer, and I believe he will do the same in FCT here.
What he's saying is right, because there are a lot of
buildings, a lot of lands and properties that are abandoned by people because they think is something that the federal government has allocated to them, and they think they will not do justice to what they've given them. But as a matter of, but he won't just take justice into his hands. I don't know. He has to take it very, very slightly because these things are something that you need to go through the books. You understand?
His nickname is Infrastructure Man, so I'm sure. Yeah, you can't compare FCT with Rivers as a state. Yeah, the revenue here and the allocations here might not be. It will not even be up to what he was getting as governor of Rivers, and the projects he was doing there. You cannot expect him to do them here. But I'm sure we'll get the best from him.
They are ever hopeful that the new minister will turn around the capital and give it its desired facelift. Abuja is Nigeria's capital. They say it's grappling with growing population that requires infrastructural expansion, enhanced water supply, sound educational institutions, and robust modern transport system. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike has directed FCTA Permanent Secretary Adeshola Olushade to release funds for the rehabilitation of vandalized Abuja Light Rail facility. The minister, who gave the directive after inspecting the rail project in Abuja, also directed the company handling the project to make sure that the project is completed within the shortest possible time. Earlier, the Minister of State for FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmood, said that assessing the problems affecting the rail transport and finding ways to address them will help in putting the system to public use. In the meantime, the minister has debunked the viral social media post that he is driving a bulletproof car in Abuja. United Kingdom Minister of State for Armed Forces and Veterans James Hippie said that the UK government will deepen synergy with the Nigerian military to enhance existing relations between the two countries. During his visit, Hippie met with the Minister of Defense Abubakar Badaru and the Minister of State for Defense Bello Mutawale alongside Nigerian security chiefs at the Ministry of Defense. The UK Defense Chief also met with President of the Economic Community of West African States Commission, Omar Toure, where he reiterated the UK's support for ECOWAS' ongoing diplomatic efforts to ensure a peaceful return to democracy in Niger Republic. He said that the UK recognized Nigeria's diplomatic mediation efforts to peacefully restore democracy in Niger through its membership of ECOWAS and condemns in the strongest possible terms the ongoing coup against Niger's elected leadership. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has launched a manhunt for a Lagos-based suspected drug dealer, Shoumi Ayodeji Kayode, who is reportedly on the run after crushing one of its officers. Spokesman of the NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, in a statement said that the incident happened when the suspect was trying to escape arrest after operatives stormed his house last weekend. Babafemi explained that the suspect knocked down one of its officers when he engaged his car in reverse gear on sighting the officials in his house. The statement said that the operative suffered multiple injuries and is currently receiving treatment. NDLEA further revealed that a thorough search of his apartment led to the recovery of 10.5 kilograms of loud. The Kano State government has said that it needs 6 million doses of vaccine to combat the outbreak of deadly diphtheria disease battling the state and other parts of the country. The state governor, Abba Kabir, disclosed this while receiving representatives of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Government House. Represented by the Deputy Governor of the state, the governor stressed the state's determination to improve health care across the state. He reaffirmed his dedication to strengthening the 11-year partnership between the Kano State government and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we take a look at why Isheshe festival celebration was shelved. Details and more after the break.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
That's right, you too could be one of the 20 Zenith Bank customers that will win 150,000 Naira every 2 weeks from June 1st, 2023 until May 31st, 2024 in the Zenith Better Life Promo 3. To qualify, simply open a Zenith Bank account. For more information, visit www.zenithbank.com/betterlife. Live the better life with Zenith Bank.
Residents of the Federal Capital Territory are hereby alerted to the activities of scavengers, also known as Babambula, which security agencies have identified as a high-level security threat to not only the residents but also to our infrastructure as they perpetrate petty stealing and acts of vandalism on public utilities. More so, they are drug peddlers, serve as spies to terrorist elements, and are ready-made tools for the public disturbances during which they attack people with dangerous weapons. The Federal Capital Territory Administration therefore reiterates that the ban on scavengers aka Babambula operating within the Federal Capital City is still in force. These miscreants are advised to stay off the streets of the Federal Capital City for their own good, as defaulters will be apprehended and prosecuted, including parents of underage children involved in these practices. Relevant agencies are carrying out enforcement of this ban as stipulated. Be law-abiding always. Let's together build the FCT of our dreams. Management announcer.
Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a look at the top stories again. Zamfara residents say security of lives and property more critical than subsidy palliative. Again, arraignment of suspected CBN governor stalled, case not on course list on adjourned date. Now, in other news, the likelihood of devastation of flood is high in Adamawa, Taraba and Benue State if Cameroonian authorities release water from Lagdo Dam. The Benue State government has directed residents living in flood-prone areas to relocate and to improve the sanitation of their areas. Jimmy Azande speaks to some of the residents who were affected by flood in 2022.
No doubt, the river Benue is swelling up, a sign that there may be flood as predicted. The residents of these areas are not unmindful of this threat.
Human activities have made the flooding gradually become worse in terms of the volume of water and in terms of the spread of the water, and again in terms of the level of devastation. So people living in such areas should ensure they clear their drainages and have clear passages, water passage, and for those that are building across drainages, they have to find a way of channeling the water back towards the river because their properties are standing against nature.
The good thing, however, is that most residents said they are aware of a flood warning by NIMET, but they said migration is expensive too.
So, particularly I want to advise the public that those of us that are residing where those every year this flood used to take place, we should to put our things in order so that when the flood occurs, should not be fined. We should not come back and start complaining that we have all our things got drawn.
The residents living in the flood-prone areas, especially students among them, are urged to vacate and not wait for the worst.
The news is flaunting internet of a flood that is about to take place this month due to some release of water from dam. So this is my advice to you as a student living in a riverine area. If you want to leave, because this flood might occur during our holidays, if you want to leave, please take home anything that is your belonging from your room. And if it happens to occur, and if you are in your room during the school session, beware and be careful, because anything flood is not always healthy to the society. It causes a lot of disasters and damages. So please, as we live, let us live with caution.
They hope the government will find a lasting solution to the perennial flooding in the river Benue State to avert losses that come with it. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
The Niger Delta Development Commission has said it will make provisions for flood control measures in its 2024 budget following its impact on the region and NIMET's predictions. The agency also proposed the provision of IDP camps in all the local government areas within the region to reduce the impact of flood disaster. In a communique issued on Wednesday in Uyo after a two-day Partners for Sustainable Development budget conference, the body said it will balance political demands and service to the people by executing people-centric projects. The NDDC suggested a town hall meeting where all ethnic nationalities of the region will gather to discuss and receive inputs from the people directly before the budget session is convoked. It further submitted that the payment timeline for contractors should not exceed 45 days while allowing for 15 days buffer, after which penalties will accrue for non-payment of contractors. A planned celebration of annual Isheshe festival by adherents of traditional religion in Ilorin Emirate of Kwara State has been opposed by Islamic scholars in the state. The planned event, which led to tension among residents, has been halted to avoid escalation. The report.
Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, is predominantly an Islamic society, with Muslim adherents being the majority. But there has been peaceful coexistence and harmonious relationship with adherents of other faiths.
To a large extent, I have never heard of it or learned publicly anybody or a group of persons organizing any Yoruba traditional festival or so-called Isheshe or so in Ilorin, Kwara State capital, since I have been here.
The initial plan to celebrate Isheshe festival, according to this woman, was slated for her apartment, and later a reception was built to hold at a rented hall, and there was no intention to instigate or incur the wrath of the Muslim majority. At Okeadini community in Sango area, where she resides, she says she has been living harmoniously with the neighbors for years.
At least I've been here for five years. So all those things, big bawo, is in my house. It's not as if I am taking, maybe I want to now carry pots and go outside and say, oh yeah, come and help me to worship this thing. No. The only thing that is leaving my compound is that whining and dining, which is supposed to hold in a hall. It's not possible for us. I keep on saying it every time, that it is not possible for me to carry idol in this Muslim community. How many of my kind is here that I will now be doing it? That means I am looking for trouble.
Few weeks after conceiving the idea of organizing the event for peace to reign, the International Council of Ifa Religion went to town with notification to its members to organize annual Isheshe with Ilorin as the host. This prompted the Council of Ulamas and Imams across the 16 local government areas and called the attention of the world to what they termed as likely consequences and deliberate act by Ifa worshippers to cause mayhem in Ilorin, the state capital.
Let me start by saying that for more than 200 years, Ilorin, the capital of Kwara State, has been known as sanctuary of Islam. It has been a city renowned for Islamic faith, practice, spirituality, and knowledge. Despite this, the people of the community have been very, very accommodating and hospitable to peoples of other faiths.
Isheshe, or Ifa festival celebrated by traditional religious adherents, is not known to the Ilorin Emirate.
As issues around citizens' freedom of religion and beliefs continue to make headlines in recent times, stakeholders have committed to adopting an early warning, early response approach to prevent situations which could lead to violations and violence along religious lines. Trust TV's Sayyid Ibrahim has more.
The Isheshe festival is one religious event which has generated mixed reactions. In Ilorin, Kwara State, the Council of Ulamas, known otherwise as Islamic clerics, warned those planning to celebrate the festival in the state capital to retrace their steps. However, a quick glance at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights shows that freedom of religion and beliefs, FORB, is guaranteed by Article 18 of the Declaration. In recent times, Nigeria has recorded several cases of violence and violations across religious lines, thus the need to create an early warning, early response mechanism to detect and respond to emerging cases of FORB violations. These stakeholders cut across religious, human rights and civil society organizations are in unison that early detection and response will help prevent religious violence, including blasphemy-related violence incidents.
When we create more awareness to our people to understand that you don't need to use words that are not good. And the other thing is full tolerance. If we can create tolerance, if my neighbor don't understand the importance of choosing words to address me, then I will create tolerance to tolerate him and then find a way of teaching him.
When you have a teaching time takes 6-9, when you're able to nab an issue, then dialogue can come in. With this dialogue, there will be responses from different angles, and you'll be able to know what that takes place. First of all, from this early warning, you discover that you know the reason why a conflict is coming up. And by the time you're able to sort things out, things will work.
Fatima Madaki, the interim country director of Search for Common Ground, explains that the intention is to build capacity of stakeholders so as to enable them respond and develop local solutions to issues which affect them the most.
What we do is to build capacity of our stakeholders to be able to analyze issues on their own, analyze the conflict, and also have a better understanding of the stakeholders within their communities that they can engage with. We're hoping that at the end of the day, the stakeholders that we're working with would be able to advocate to their political leaders or political elites with their needs and demands on issues that affect them most, but also sharing with them recommendations about the possible solutions that they think would work for them or their community.
The stakeholders' engagement concluded with an induction of a new National Steering Committee on Interreligious Early Warning and Early Response with the aim of promoting and protecting freedom of religion and beliefs in Nigeria. Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Residents of Tinumola area in Osogbo, Osun State were thrown into confusion on Tuesday evening when personnel of the Department of State Service stopped a 62-year-old man over 3,000 naira electricity bill debt. After battling to save the life of the victim, the residents called on the police to arrest and prosecute the operative to guard against abuse of office. Hamid Oyegbadi reports.
The 62-year-old man, Omoshola Oludele, survived the attack after he was stabbed below his waist by a DSS operative identified as Abiodun Tifashe. Oludele is the agent in charge of the rented building occupied by the DSS personnel. Argument ensued between the duo when the DSS personnel refused to pay the 3,000 naira electricity bill contribution. The victim received a deep cut below his waist and was rushed to a private hospital to save his life.
I went to him that, where is your money? He said, which money? I said, electricity money. So before I know it, he just went inside his room and bring one jackknife. That was all I can say. So he stabbed me with that jackknife.
One of the residents, Tosin Moronkola, who witnessed the incident, described the action of the DSS personnel as unwarranted and called on police to arrest and prosecute him.
The guy just ran inside, took jackknife and stabbed the man below his waist. So the man nearly died and we rushed him to Dunafort Hospital here. And ever since then, we called them on Dada Estate Police Station that they should come and help us apprehend the guy. But the DSS official said they cannot release their personnel to a police officer, and the only thing they can do is to take him to their custody. We even called anti-courtesim OC, which is Mr. Lukman. He also came. They said they cannot release it to him. So since then, we've been in the hospital. One of their deputy director came this morning. We've not seen anything. What we want government to do for us is to please assist us in taking this guy into book.
A top DSS officer in the state said the matter will be investigated, and if found wanting, the operative will be prosecuted. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
The police in Rivers State have arrested 12 internet fraudsters who buried a newborn baby alive at Andoni waterfront in Eagle Island, Port Harcourt on Wednesday. The chairman of the Neighborhood Security Watch, Victor Haji, who doubles as the chief security officer of Eagle Island, said that he got intelligence that some internet fraudsters known as Yahoo Boys were doing incantation at the waterfront. Ohaji said that he mobilized his men, and on getting to the waterfront, the Yahoo Boys had left. But it was discovered that the suspects buried something at the waterfront. He said on digging the ground, a dead newborn baby boy was exhumed from the ground. Rivers State Police Command Public Relations Officer SP Grace Iringe Koko confirmed the incident. Acting Inspector General of Police Olukayode Egbetokun on Wednesday commissioned a complaint response unit, CRU, in Lagos State. The unit located at the command headquarters, Ikeja, is meant to improve efficiency and performance of the officers and men of the force. Trust TV's Victoria Tokolo reports.
Commissioning the center in Ikeja, Acting Inspector General Egbetokun says the aim of establishing the unit was to enhance the economic well-being and safeguard the health of the officers and their families. He said the command has the capacity to investigate crimes and criminality in addition to placing high premium on integrity as a pathway to exceptional policy framework.
We don't want actions of the policemen, police officers to be reported as social media. We now have a complaint response unit where you can take all your complaints to. Members of the officers who are going to man this complaint response unit are going to be carefully selected. They are going to be officers with impeccable integrity. They will be trained and be given regular training, including opportunity for overseas training.
The immediate past president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, and rights activist Joe Oke-Odumakin speak at the event.
One, all police officers to take cognizance of the Police Establishment Act 2020. Torture has become a serious offense. It now attracts 25 years imprisonment. Oh yes. If the suspect dies, whoever is involved will be charged with murder. As they say here, that will not be your portion.
The opening is important because it's going to go a long way in improving the relationship between the citizens and the police. And if such relationship is improved, then we are going to have a more secured Lagos state for everyone.
The Inspector General of Police, IGP Olukayode Egbetokun, used the occasion to call on officers of the force to be more diligent and hard-working in discharge of their duties.
The National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, has reopened its orientation camp in Borno State after 12 years of insurgency. Governor Umara Zulum, during the declaration opening of Batch B Stream 2 in Maiduguri, said that the resumption of activities in the NYSC camp signifies return of peace in the northeast region. Zulum promised to engage the Corps members, especially medical doctors and other frontline health workers, to contribute in critical areas of need in the state. The NYSC State Coordinator, Commander Muhammad Adamu Jiva, said 1,125 Corps members have been deployed to serve in Borno State.
It gladdens my heart to know that the entire security architecture of Borno State had witnessed tremendous progress under my watch. This is the more reason why people have returned to their ancestral homes and going about their businesses without any risk to life and property. Our synergy with the Nigerian military, paramilitary and voluntary security organizations remain very productive and action-oriented. As you make signature to commence the National Youth Service journey through Borno State, I assure you that you will all have good testimonies to make at the end of this year, inshallah.
We'll now take a short break and the news hour continues. Join us again. Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Now time to take a look at business updates with Chamon Dabeng.
The palliatives announced by the federal government last Thursday have not yet been made available to residents of the several states that make up the federation. To lessen the agony of the subsidy, the Tinubu administration stated last Thursday that 180 billion naira and 180 trucks of rice will be sent to the states. However, there has been a delay in reaching the states. Chris Onyeka, the Assistant General Secretary of the Nigeria Labour Congress, is concerned about the federal government's hold-up in delivering its palliatives. In case of any further delays, he added NLC already has preparations in place. He disclosed that state-level NLC officials were not members of the committee charged with distributing the palliatives, but acknowledged that the labor union should collaborate with state governments on its palliatives. Nigeria has been ranked among the top 3 nations in terms of the highest oil reserves discovered due to new investments in 2023. Other countries, according to Rystad Energy's research, include Guyana and Namibia. Additionally, global spending on conventional oil and gas exploration will surpass $50 billion in 2023. According to an energy research firm, upstream corporations are carefully focused on attractive offshore projects and geologically well understood places as they deliberately direct their investments there. 95% of overall spending in 2023, according to Rystad Energy, will go towards offshore projects. ExxonMobil, BP, Shell, Total Energies, Eni, Chevron, and National Oil Companies are among the global giants predicted to direct a total of $7 billion in exploratory projects in 2023, accounting for more than half of the project spending. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, reported that Nigeria's economic growth in the first quarter of 2023 was 2.4% year-over-year, despite the country's massive oil and gas deposits. In the banking industry, the difference between the maximum lending rate and the rate on savings deposits grew by 22.14% in July. According to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, bank savings deposit rates increased marginally to 5.24% in July from 5.18% and 5.13% in June and May. The Apex Bank's money market data also showed that the maximum lending rate decreased significantly from 28.94% in June to 27.38% in July. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the prime lending rate increased to 13.98% in July from 13.85% in June. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
Now, away from Nigeria, a private plane crashed in Moscow's region, killing all 10 people on board. Russian news agency TASS reports that Wagner mercenary group chief Prigozhin was among those on board. Russia's civilian aviation regulator also said that Prigozhin was on the passenger list. However, it was not immediately clear if he had boarded the flight. The Embraer aircraft en route from Moscow to St. Petersburg was carrying 7 passengers and 3 crew, TASS reported on Wednesday. According to preliminary information, all those on board died, the Ministry for Emergency Situations said on Telegram. Prigozhin was among those on board, or was at least listed as among those people on board. And now in sports, imagine football match without offside rules and throw-ins. This may sound strange, but it's exactly how visually impaired or the blind play football. In this report, we highlight some of the key moments in a football match between members of the Nigeria Association of the Blind in Abuja. Playing soccer by the blind is not a common sight, especially for many people in Nigeria. This is because the possibility of the blind running round the pitch, dribbling to score a goal, is almost unthinkable. These blind players are out to show the world that what the sighted can do, the blind can also do if given the needed attention. The game is played on a 40 by 20 size pitch with a 3.66 meters wide and 2.14 meters high goalpost, surrounded by a physical barrier that indicates the boundaries of the playing area. Each team has 5 players, including a goalkeeper who is usually a sighted person. Players must also wear eye patches to ensure they are visually equal. The ball must contain bells or another system that ensures it makes noise when it is moving on the pitch or through the air. Here, there are no offside rules or throw-ins, but there are corner kicks. This game is a match organized by the Nigeria Association of the Blind as part of activities for the North Central NAB Youth Conference 2023. It is a match between the Kogi and Nasarawa chapters of the association. The conference, tagged "A Chance to Prove My Worth," was envisaged to promote talents of the visually impaired in sports and the creative industry.
And this is first of its kind in this particular zone. So I'm so delighted to be here and to witness it.
The conviction is that we are useless, we are not useful to the society, we don't have anything to contribute to the society. But we want to change the narrative. We want to change the perception that a person with visual impairment can offer a lot in the society.
Soccer for the blind and partially sighted originated in schools for people with visual impairments. It is considered the fastest growing Paralympic sport in the world, with over 60 countries playing blind soccer. Well, the blind also play football after all. Well, that's a wrap on the News Hour for tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.